Hello, this is Matt on the Moon Lambeau channel. Ripple CEO Brad Garlinghouse will not budge on XRP. Because look, Brad was interviewed yesterday on Fox Business Network by a journalist, Charles Gasparino, and he said they will not settle unless XRP is designated as a non-security. So holding absolutely firm. And I don't think that's just tough talk. I think that's an absolute sticking point, and they're firm on that. I think it's pretty clear, and Ripple knows this. We all know this. We can all see this. We're not idiots. Ripple has the strong hand in this suit. The SEC made a grave mistake in bringing this suit against Ripple, in particular the way that they did. Look, it would have been one thing if they just said, okay, these sales of XRP for so-and-so years, the earliest years of Ripple, maybe these were sales of unregistered securities, but to claim that XRP itself, by the nature of it existing, is a security, now you done messed up, SEC. Now you done messed up. And so I want to share with you select portions of what was discussed in this interview yesterday on Fox Business Network, and it's highly consequential. In fact, it has something to do with the article which is on your screen right now from Crypto Newsflash titled, Gary Gensler Met with Jay Clayton in 2018 and was instrumental in XRP hostility. Oh yes, indeed. The claim here, Gary Gensler had a direct impact on the SEC's approach to crypto back in 2018, specifically the Billy Hinman speech from June 14th, 2018, in which Bill Hinman said Bitcoin and Ethereum not securities, and that was intended to be perceived the way that it was perceived by the whole world, including mainstream media, which is that Bitcoin and Ethereum not securities. Well, looks like Gary Gensler back in 2018 had a serious impact, according to the allegations here, that XRP hostility, it was directly from him. But so I'm going to be starting with this, and then I will share with you select portions of the interview that I transcribed, and I got some comments on that as well. But I also want to be clear, I do not have a legal or financial background of any kind. I'm not offering legal or financial advice. And you definitely should not buy or sell anything because of anything that I say or write. I'm just an enthusiast who makes YouTube videos about cryptocurrency topics, but just as a hobby and just for fun. That's all that's going on here. And so when we go into this crypto news flash, and again, right after this, I will share with you select portions that I transcribed from the Brad Garlinghouse, Charles Gasparino interview on live television, Fox Business Network. And so, here we go. When Gary Gensler took over at the U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission this year, many in the cryptocurrency community touted it to be the beginning of a new era, one that would spell clarity and prosperity for the nascent industry. However, it's been anything but. Yeah, and I'll just pause there to state that I was one of the individuals that was thinking, and I even said it like more than once on the channel, I was like, well, how could he be any worse than Jay Clayton, right? I even said that. I was like, oh my God. So I'm eating those words now, aren't I? Who would have seen that he would actually legitimately be worse than Jay Clayton? He is, because look, with Jay Clayton, it's kind of like he was aloof. Like he didn't really understand the whole crypto thing. Like he don't do crypto good. Gary Gensler, he gets it, but he just wants to attack it. So he's coming after all aspects of it. But anyway, piece continues. Gensler has been just as tough, if not even more so, than his predecessor. And as a new report now reveals, Gensler's hostility, especially towards XRP, started years ago and could have influenced the SEC's stand against the cryptocurrency even before he took over the leadership. So let's pause here to acknowledge that Gary Gensler, although he's not the reason that this lawsuit, not directly anyway, he's not directly responsible for the SEC versus Ripple lawsuit, he's happy about it. He is absolutely thrilled that this is the case here. Now, maybe he recognizes how sloppy things are, and he would have preferred that maybe he could have guided the lawyers to pursue a little bit of a different route. Maybe that's just speculation, though. Maybe he is thrilled with how it's going. I don't know. You'd think, because I don't think he's a stupid guy. Hopefully he realized how poor the position is that the SEC's in right now. But the part that I'm saying he's thrilled about is just the idea of the SEC going after Ripple for sales of XRP. That part, that's a no-brainer. Oh yes, he's for that. Piece continues. The report by the New York Post revealed that Gensler met with his predecessor, Jay Clayton, in 2018. And at the time, Gensler was just settling into his new role as a professor at the MIT Sloan School of Management. Ironically, at MIT, he served as the senior advisor to the school's digital currency initiative, teaching extensively about blockchain technology. And according to Charles Gasparino, the Fox Business reporter who exposed the 2018 meeting, the two leaders talked about how much they could regulate cryptocurrencies at the meeting. Now, citing sources who were privy to the meeting, the report claims Clayton and Gensler dwelt on how digital currencies were largely unregulated and a haven for scams. They both agreed that most coins were securities that fell under the SEC oversight. So let me just pause there to note that's interesting, because there's also a 2018 video clip that's been circulating in which Gary Gensler, again, then teaching at MIT, stated that about 75% of cryptocurrencies are not securities. The way that he worded it, I don't recall specifically, but what was being conveyed is that they would have been, I can't remember if he said, he might have said commodities or currencies, but there was a 75% number, and he was indicating that they were not securities. That's to the best of my recollection. I believe that is about correct, though. And here they have a quote, though, and I want to share this before jumping to the transcription portion of this. Here you go. This is something that Gary Gensler said in 2018. This is an interview with the New York Times. He said the following. There is a strong case for both of them. So he's referencing Ethereum and XRP here. There is a strong case for both of them, but particularly Ripple, that they are non-compliant securities. And so look, we've known this for the longest damn time. And it's just... If you want to go after Ripple, that's one thing. I'm not saying that you're right or wrong. I'm just saying if you want to do that, that's one thing. But to attack XRP holders and XRP itself, no, you done messed up. You have gone too far. You're unethical, and your legal arguments are flimsy at best. That's being kind. To say that it's flimsy, that's being kind. It's a complete train wreck, your arguments here. And so then there was this. Oh, yeah, I'll share this picture too. There's a picture of Brad Garlinghouse with Charles Gasparino right around the time of the interview. And this is Eleanor Turret. She's the one that shared the picture here on Twitter. And she is a journalist and producer at Fox Business Network. And she's been working hand in hand with Charles Gasparino covering the SEC versus Ripple story and crypto stuff in general. And so she wrote the following. Great catching up with Brad Garlinghouse of Ripple this morning. Full interview will be up on Fox Business website shortly. And so let's go ahead and cover part of this right now. So, and you got to kind of wonder this too, like, why is it that Brad Garlinghouse is willing to go on live television and ask any questions that Charles Gasparino wants to ask? Because mind you, like Charles Gasparino, he's not a member of the XRP community. Like he's just an open, honest, unbiased journalist trying to get to the truth, and he can ask Brad Garlinghouse anything he wants. So why is it that Brad Garlinghouse is willing to be subjected to this, but then Jay Clayton and Gary Gensler are in hiding? Why might that be the case? And look, Charles Gasparino, he cited here. He said this on live television. But before the interview clip started, he said, look, the SEC wants to put Ripple out of business. And he noted that he asked Brad Garlinghouse like where he thinks crypto regulation is heading in the U.S. But more interestingly, he also asked what Brad thinks about the secret meetings that then SEC Chair Jay Clayton had with then MIT professor Gary Gensler, who of course again is now SEC Chair, having replaced Clayton. And mind you, these meetings occurred before the lawsuit against Ripple was filed, of course. Gary Gensler was very publicly anti-Ripple at the time these secret meetings took place in 2018. And so here's what Brad said on national television on the Fox Business Network, sitting down with journalist and reporter Charles Gasparino. Here's a quote. I believe very strongly that we will get to a good place here. I think it's clear that on Capitol Hill, they're paying more attention to this. Frankly, partly because of your reporting, and I think that's also good for the whole industry. Gensler has also called out, hey, we need more clarity by saying we need legislation, but he's saying it's clear there's a contradiction there. I think it looks like Capitol Hill is kind of leaning in a little now. And so, let me just pause there to note, Brad Garlinghouse is absolutely correct. Gary Gensler is speaking out of both sides of his mouth, which by the way, Jay Clayton has been doing too. after he left his position as SEC chair, he's been making the same points, and I've highlighted it in previous Moon Lambo Hot Jams. But both of them, frankly, are saying, hey, we need more legislation around crypto, but then they'll also say, convenient whenever it's convenient for them, yeah, there's sufficient regulatory clarity. Well, both of those things obviously can't be true. We're not stupid, right? I guess they think we are. It's like they can't keep track of their own stories and lies, and so then as a result, they end up saying things that are contradictory in public. That's what it looks like to me. If you're just intellectually honest, those types of things don't happen, right? The people get tripped up when they're not being intellectually honest and they're just trying to cover their own rear side. You know what I'm saying? And so again, the last sentence of what I transcribed there was, I think it looks like Capitol Hill is kind of leaning in a little now. That's what Brad Garlinghouse said. And then Gasparino jumped in and said, oh, really? So you think there's going to be some movement to set up some Uber regulator as opposed to this sort of mishmash of regulation. So it's worth pausing there to note that there are those within the crypto space that want a new regulator to be in charge of crypto rather than the SEC. I've said my piece on that. I don't think that government, which has botched this whole thing, is the solution to fix this. Oh, government, you're incompetent and can't make this work? Okay, let's add more government to this and see if it works once there's even more of it. No, thank you, sir or madam. I will pass on that. That's a hard pass. But anyway, Brad's response to that was the following. Or just to write clarifying laws. Yes, I'm already going to pause. I got to say, yes, write clarifying laws. Yes, we do not need a new regulator. Brad Garlinghouse hitting the nail on the head. Yes, I'm absolutely on board with you there. And then he says, I think you're seeing more senators, more representatives understand this is a real issue. They're hearing from their constituents. The effort from XRP holders against the SEC now is apparently 45,000 in the United States. So, of course, he's referencing right there that many people having signed up with John Deaton to be represented in the SEC versus Ripple case. Although, I'll tell you, since then, the numbers ballooned even further. The most recent number John Deaton has touted at the time I'm recording this video was over 50,000 XRP holders have signed up. They want to be a part of this case. They are against the SEC's action. Now, that is powerful. That's going to speak volumes to the court. But anyway, and so then in referencing that, Gasparino jumped in and said, John Deaton, the lawyer, told me that. So that's just Gasparino acknowledging, yeah, absolutely, ton of people. And then Brad said, that is not a small number. And so when those people start calling their representatives and start calling their senators, they pay attention. And then Gasparino responded, you kind of ducked my question, though. Are you a little concerned about those meetings? So again, he's referencing the Jay Clayton, Gary Gensler secret meetings that we're just now finding out about, which seems to have impacted Billy Hinman, may have contributed to him not offering XRP any sort of cover there. And so Brad said the following. Look, optics matter, right? And so do I think some of the optics are a little, that's interesting. When we ask the SEC for disclosures and clarity, you see these things happening, and you're like, wait a minute, what were those meetings? What was the substance, and why? What we seek more than anything is clarity and certainty. We think the SEC should play by the same rules and disclosures and clarity that we try to. And so, look, it's very clear that Brad Garlinghouse is, pretty, I think anyway, that he's perceiving this the same way that you and I are. I mean, I assume I know how you're taking this, because any rational, level-headed person is going to take it the same way. This doesn't pass the smell test here. So there's something about this. This was not done in broad daylight. There was no transparency here. And this has materially impacted the way that things have unfolded from a legislative perspective pertaining to crypto, specifically XRP, and that has globally impacted XRP holders. Yeah, no kidding. Then switching gears here, this was a little bit later in the conversation, Gasparino asked, will there be an XRP ETF? And I'm going to read you Brad's response here, which I transcribed. Now, they were also talking about the Bitcoin futures ETF. Now, a lot of people misreport this, and they say that there has now been the first ever Bitcoin ETF. That's not true. It's a Bitcoin futures ETF, which is not the same thing here. And so they were talking about that. And so part of Brad's answer, you'll see it'll seem a little disheveled without me mentioning this. That's why I needed to mention this, because, again, he was asked about a potential XRP ETF. And then he also went on to cite Bitcoin, not by name in the quote, but he was talking about the energy inefficiency. And then he also brought up Ether here. And even before reading Brad's responses, I'll just share with you. I think at some point there will be an XRP ETF, unless in the United States, of course, this all becomes a complete train wreck, and XRP's itself is actually declared to be a security by the nature of it existing, and it's never traded on any exchanges that it's been delisted on, and then the 3 exchanges that still offer it, if it's actually delisted on those 2, yeah, then you wouldn't have an XRP ETF. But I don't think that's happening. It could, and there's a risk to all of this, but it could. But assuming that disaster scenario does not happen, then yeah, of course, at some point in the future, there will be a Bitcoin ETF, the Ethereum ETF probably, and XRP ETF. If these cryptocurrencies are going to have long-term viability, I think the answer is yes. That's my take. But here's what Brad Garlinghouse said. Well, look, I think that's a really important question. But why is the SEC picking winners and losers? Why is a government entity deciding this is a winning one, which, by the way, happens to have some pros and cons, massive power consumption, which isn't great for the climate agenda that Gary Gensler cares a lot about, but being silent about other things? And then, one of the challenges right now is Gary Gensler, who has been asked specifically about Ethereum, hasn't commented. If it's so clear, if the laws are so clear, and he's asked a simple question, then just answer the question if it's clear. Oh, golf clap for Mr. Garlinghouse right there. Yes, just answer the damn question if it's so damn freaking clear like you claim it is. But they won't. He won't even answer the question on Bitcoin. Gary Gensler dodged the question on whether or not Bitcoin is a security. What? That's absolutely absurd to me. And then Gasparino noted that Brad said the only way that they'd settle, that Ripple would settle, is if XRP is declared to not be a security. And Brad also told Gasparino that if the SEC declares XRP to be a security, then they won't operate in the United States. That's what's going to happen. They'll just leave. Ripple's not going to stop. XRP won't stop existing, but it'll be bye-bye United States. It'll just be a bye Felicia moment. That'll be exactly what happens. So I don't think it's going to come to that, but that's the degree to which this is impactful, and you can get a sense of exactly what's at stake here. So let me know what you think in the comment section below about all of this. Love to hear your takes as always, but I'm wrapping up. I'm not a financial advisor. You should not buy or sell anything because of anything that I say or write. That would be a very, very, very bad idea. Until next time, to the moon, Lambo.